now we can actually go ahead and just start addressing the topic that's on the screen right now. What has Joe Biden done for black people? And a reason I want to propose this question is because every few months into a presidential election, we kind of like fall asleep behind the wheel. And here come Blaze right now. Let me let him get in here for a second. But every presidential election, we kind of fall asleep behind the wheel a few months into the presidential run. And we did it with Obama. We was like, he ain't done enough for black people, yada, yada, yada. But a lot of people are saying that Joe Biden has done the most for black people out of any presidential run, even though President Obama. And so I wanted to get y'all insight because, Kendall, you a little bit more politically versed than me. Blaze, you really deep into politics as well. So I just want to know how y'all felt about the job that President Joe Biden is doing. So go ahead. And then for everybody in the chat, too, all our listeners, y'all can comment and let us know how we feel, too, and how y'all feel as well. But go ahead. I'll let y'all go, Kendall.
You want me to start? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, I kind of feel like you said, I mean, he has been a little bit more vocal, especially from his previous terms as like a senator and things like that, even as vice president, when he was vice president under Obama, like he wasn't as vocal as he is right now. So I'll give him that credit. And they have been trying to push to an extent certain acts to push things through, such as the For the People Act, which is the federal election law that is basically trying to expand early voting, automatic and same day registration, and prevent manipulation of district boundaries for partisan gain. So basically, they are trying to push certain things. I just kind of feel like it's always the same issue that it's always been, which is lack of participation from the other side, and also the backbone that the Democratic Party, seems to. I won't say they don't have one at all, but it seems like it's always kind of like they'll just sit back and let things kind of go, and we'll see how things go. I'm still have faith in, such as like AOC, or Miss Bush, Miss Cori Bush, things like that. But as far as like, we really need more emphasis on pushing these acts together, because the reality is the Voting Rights Act, if we don't fix things like that, then it's just going to trickle down to the other minority groups who want to get involved. I mean, you have some where people feel like, oh, well, the Hispanic community or the Asian community, they don't vote enough or they don't do this. But I think it's kind of has to deal with representation. And it's not always just about representation of the people itself. Usually you move when a certain demographic is pushing money into the economy and things like that, then you might move to help them a little bit more. So I think that as a whole, once we fix those types of things, such as, like I said, the Voting Rights Act, pushing and making sure that people aren't being discriminated against or disenfranchised when they're trying to come in and vote. We saw the voting issues that were going on in Georgia, where people were in these long ass lines for absolutely no reason. So we just really have to, I think it's on us as well to kind of push what we want our Democratic Party to do. I'll say because we ain't necessarily super aligned with the Democrats, but that's the ones that's going to help us in terms of what we're trying to push. But I think it has to do with us as well, making sure we got our elbows behind them and pushing them to do what we need them to do. So
yeah,
I'll let somebody else go. Y'all know I can go all day.
I agree with that, man. Like a lot of the stuff Kendall was saying is exactly the shit I was thinking. But he, as far as black people, he doing what he can. It showed more in his cabinet than anything, because he got Marsha Fudge as Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Lloyd Austin, the first black Secretary of Defense, Michael Reagan, the first black Administrator of EPA. So as far as that, he doing what he said he was going to do. But a lot of the stuff, the initiatives he pushing forward, they ain't going nowhere. They stuck.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. And the sad part is we got a Democratic controlled Senate. And they're not passing anything. That's just that was the big misconception with his HBCU funding, where he originally said he wanted to donate want to give $45 billion in funding to HBCUs for recovery and through all the pandemic and whatnot, and then it got reduced to $2 billion because it was dead in the water at the Senate. So a lot of people think that he thought that he cut the funding, but he never actually cut the funding. It wasn't going to make it through the Senate, so he had to reduce the amount to $2 billion in order for it to pass.
Aim high and settle for low.
Exactly. So that was pretty much what he did. I like I said, I'm in the same frame of mind as you, Blaze, as far as his representation and the people he's appointed to his cabinet. My thing is do y'all think that we need to apply more pressure on the Black Caucus, the Congressional Caucus, right? 500 or something members, to start doing more for the Black community? Because clearly the president is trying to do something, but the Black Caucus, it's like, what are y'all even there for? Because Keith Moss, one of our listeners, just said that Black people deserve something a little more tailored. And if you look at the Black Congressional Caucus's mission statement, it is very tailored towards the Black community, but they not doing shit. They haven't done historically, really haven't done anything. Everything that they've done, as far as like even like Kendall said, he hinted at earlier, the crime bill. You know, that was something pushed by the Black Caucus. You know what I mean? They had these things that they know how detrimental it was going to be to our community. So I just wanted to get y'all thoughts on that. Do y'all think we need to apply more pressure towards them to actually do stuff? Because there's a lot of senators and representatives from each state.
Absolutely, yeah.
Hell yeah, hold their ass accountable.
Yeah, I mean, because they should be the ones that are vocal about why are these bills being stalled. You know, the bills remain. I'll just read some from the Guardian from some of the articles that we've been pulling up. The bills remain stalled in evenly divided Senate, where the filibuster requires 60 votes to advance legislation. The lack of progress has frustrated civil rights leaders and activists who charge that the president isn't taking the fight for voting rights seriously enough. So to your exact point, it's like, okay, well, what are y'all going to do though? You know what I mean? Like, are y'all having meetings with him? Are we? What are you doing to help, push this and to showcase that you're aligning yourself with the president so that we can get these types of things pushed through? Because it just takes more than just, talking points and things like that, or just blaming the president. You have to get involved on your side too, especially like you said, the Congressional Black Caucus.
Yeah. So, yeah,
it's hard for him to do a lot of this shit with no help, no backing, and that seems like what's going on right now.
I like what Sharice said too, steering some intelligent people to read and get good information and not look for others' opinions as truth for all. I like that too. But we definitely need to continue to be informed, stay informed, even if you're not in government. It's just important to understand what's going on around you.
That's a fact. So yeah, like I said, we still got to give him some more time to see what he can get past and everything. But I just wanted to challenge y'all that like continue to think about this.
I don't think none of them bills gonna go through. I just don't.
Yeah, it's a shame because this is the same thing that happened with under President Obama. We had the House and the Senate, and then the first 4 years, and nothing happened. Then when it was out of his control, then we just blamed him for everything. You know what I mean? And his last 4 years when we didn't have the House and the Senate, as far as Democrats go. I mean, I don't really identify as either one, but that's another story. But yeah. So we just something for y'all to think about and think about moving forward as far as how we gonna vote in the next terms and everything like that. Also, stay on top of what these the local state governments have been doing as far as the conservatives, because they are trying to do everything they can to keep voters suppressed right now. So yeah, like really pay attention to what's going on in y'all local politics as well, because they not if y'all think that they let this president get in here and then get the House and the Senate control, really pay attention to what they're doing at the state level, because every state
they coming up with genius ways to do it too.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
So
I mean, because the fact is, the reality is that most people in this country are liberal, and that's the whole problem. That's what they're trying to make sure that they can control that vote, because otherwise the turnouts are just going to be crazy as always, because like I said, most people in this country are relatively liberal. So relatively
early voting and mail-in ballots is a wrap for that shit.
Yep. Mm-hmm. We all know what was going on in Georgia. Man, right. Crazy. I mean, you saw, and even in the 2000 election with George Bush, what was all that stuff that was going on in Florida with their voter irregularities, disenfranchising.
Hey, they so blatantly said, fuck y'all vote.
Exactly. Bush was like, I tell you something, we're going to win Florida. You can write it down.
He definitely knew. He definitely knew. He already knew. He saw Florida, man.
Hey, everybody just accepted it like, all right.
I mean, allegedly, according to Michael Moore, one of Bush's cousins was the vote count lady in Florida. And his brother was governor. So, it's just, a lot of corruption, man. You know how it goes in the political spectrum. Right. And that's where it comes to us to check that type of stuff in. And I think it has, as the years went on and we got more involved with politics and, started making documentaries and things like that and films and try to expose what the governments and different forms of body different bodies of government are doing. It's just very important to check them as well. It's just kind of like you almost not checking your parents, but if they do something wrong, sometimes you want to call it out. You might get slapped, but it's just very important to make sure that you're involved and knowing what's going on around you, like I said before.
Yeah, we've been preaching this for a year, but I just definitely didn't want us to fall because last year our podcast was very politically involved, and we kind of took our foot off the brakes once Trump got out of office, and plus, like I said, it's still fairly new, so we definitely have to. These legislations and bills and stuff take time to go into action. So we. We had to take some time, but we definitely want to kind of get this back on the track of like holding these politicians accountable and not forgetting what we're here for. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
use that phone number, call them congressmen.
You gotta